Right now, in a government building in Ottawa, there are about 160 checks sitting in a file. Every single one of them is worth more than $100,000. They've been printed, they've been signed, each one has a real Canadian's name on it, and not one of those people has ever come to collect their money. Now, those 160 are just the giants. Behind them sits a mountain. 10.5 million more checks made out to ordinary people like you and me, adding up to $1.87 billion. Some were mailed a couple of years ago. Some go back 10, 15 years. A few were printed in 1998 and have been waiting ever since. And here in Canada, a government check never expires. So if one of those checks has your name on it, it isn't money you missed. It's money that is still yours, today, right now, waiting for you to come and get it. I'm Robert, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to find out if any of that money belongs to you, or to your husband, your wife, your parents, even someone in your family who's already passed on. It takes about 2 minutes, and it doesn't cost you a cent. But before I show you where to look, there's something you need to understand, because this is the exact spot where most people go wrong. There isn't one place this money hides. There are three, and almost everybody, even the folks who've caught a news story about it, only ever checks one of them, if they check at all. By the end of this, you'll know all three. So stay with me, because the second door is the one that catches people completely off guard. Let's start with the biggest pile, because the numbers are honestly a little hard to believe. The Canada Revenue Agency, the CRA, the same people you send your taxes to every spring, is holding $1.87 billion that it has tried to pay out and couldn't. That's not a typo. Billion, with a B, spread across more than 10.5 million individual checks. Do the math, and the average check comes out to around $175. But averages hide things. Roughly 190,000 of those checks are worth more than $1,000 each. And then you've got that little stack, the 160 checks worth over $100,000 apiece. And it keeps growing. The CRA has been trying to hand this money back since 2020. They've returned around $800 million so far. And the pile is still getting bigger, not smaller. Every year they mail out millions of payments, and every year a slice of them never gets cashed. Which raises the obvious question. How on earth does this happen? How does a person just not cash a check from the government? Let me walk you through it. Because once you hear the reasons, I think you'll see why people over 60 are right in the middle of this. Picture a refund check. The CRA prints it and mails it to the last address they've got on file for you. Simple enough, as long as you still live there. But think back over the last 15, 20 years of your life. Did you move? Downsize from the family home into something smaller? Sell the house and move closer to the kids? Spend a few winters somewhere warm? Every one of those is a chance for a check to get mailed to an address you'd already left. Canada Post forwards your mail for a little while, and then it stops. After that, the check just drops into a void. Now, here's the part nobody likes to talk about. A lot of this money is tied to loss. When a spouse passes away, the one left behind is buried in paperwork and grief and 100 decisions all at once. A refund check made out to the person who died can slip through completely, and it may still be sitting there, unclaimed years later. Same thing when a parent passes and the family, understandably, isn't thinking about a small tax refund from 3 years back. And then there's the simplest reason of all. It came in the mail. It looked like just another beige government envelope. It got set on the counter under a stack of flyers, and it was forgotten. Not because anyone was careless, because life was busy and it looked like nothing. So no, this isn't money for people who did something wrong. It's money for people who moved, who lost someone, or who just had a lot going on. Which is to say, it's money for regular people. Possibly you, but finding out which of it is yours, that's where it gets interesting. Because the CRA's pile, the big one I just described, that's only the first of the three doors. And most people never even learn the other two exist. So let me lay out the map before we start opening anything. Door number 1 is the CRA. Tax refunds, benefit payments, credits. The money we've been talking about, that's the one that occasionally makes the news, so some of you have heard of it. Door number 2 is a completely different building, run by a completely different institution. And this is the one that surprises people. It has nothing to do with taxes, nothing to do with the CRA. It's about your bank, old accounts, forgotten savings, things you set up decades ago and stopped thinking about. There are more than 2 million of these sitting untouched right now, and I'll tell you exactly who's holding them and why in just a minute. Most Canadians have no idea this one is even out there. Door number 3 is Service Canada, the department behind employment insurance, the Canada Pension Plan, and old age security. Yes, even pension and benefit checks get stranded, and they land in their own separate pile that neither of the other two searches will ever show you. 3 doors, 3 separate places. And to actually collect what's yours, you have to knock on each one, because none of them talks to the others. Check only the CRA, and you could walk right past money sitting behind door 2 or door 3 with your name on it. Now, I know what you're thinking. If this is real and it's free, why hasn't everyone already done it? 2 reasons. And the second one you need to hear before you go looking, because it's how people who find their money end up losing a chunk of it anyway. Hold that thought. The first reason is simple. Almost nobody knows all 3 of these exist. The CRA one gets a headline now and then. The money piles up, a story runs, and then it fades. The bank one and the Service Canada one, they barely get mentioned at all. You can't go looking for a door you don't know is there. The second reason is quieter, and it's the one I really want you to remember. The moment you've got over $2 billion of found money sitting around, other people show up wanting a piece of it. There are companies, they call themselves finders or locators, who go through these databases, work out that you're owed money, and then contact you offering to recover it for you for a fee. Sometimes a very big fee, a large slice of your own money just for filling in a form you could have filled in yourself for free. I'll come back to exactly how to spot those people and how to keep every dollar that's yours. But tuck it in the back of your mind as I show you the searches. Because here's the plain truth. Every one of these searches is free, and you never ever have to pay a soul to get your own money back. All right, you've been patient. Let's open the doors. Door 1, the CRA. And this is the 2-minute check I promised you. You're going to sign into something called CRA My Account. Now, if you already bank online with one of the big Canadian banks, this is easier than you'd expect, because you can log in using your online banking details. That's the sign-in partner option. Same username and password you use for your bank. You can also use a CRA user ID and password if you've set one up. And in Alberta and British Columbia, you can use your provincial digital ID. Never registered before? You can set it up with your social insurance number, your date of birth, and a detail from a recent tax return. Once you're signed in, you'll land on the overview page. Look off to the side for a section called Related Services. Inside it, there's a link that says, plainly, Uncashed Cheques. Click it. And that's the moment of truth. If there's money waiting, it lists each check, the date it was issued and the amount. If the screen shows nothing, that's good news too. It means the CRA doesn't have a stranded payment for you. One thing to know, it only shows checks that are at least 6 months old, so anything very recent won't appear here. If you do see a check, here's how you actually get the money in your hands. The system lets you download a pre-filled form. Its name is Form PWGSC 535. Undertaking and indemnity. Don't let the name scare you. Most of it is already filled in for you. You print it, complete the last few fields, and sign it. And pay close attention here, because this is the step that trips people up. It has to be signed by hand in ink. No electronic signature, no digital signature, no stamp. You'll also need a witness to sign, and the witness can't be a family member. If you've got more than one check, you fill out a separate form for each one. Then you send it back, either by uploading it through the Submit Documents tool right there in My Account, or by mailing it to the CRA's tax center in Sudbury, Ontario. Give it up to about 6 weeks to process. One fair warning. If you happen to owe the CRA anything, they'll put the money toward that first and send you whatever's left. Now, what if you don't use computers, or you'd just rather not? You are not shut out of this. You can phone the CRA, and they'll mail that pre-filled form straight to you. It's slower, but it works, and you never have to touch a keyboard. That's door 1. Now let's go to the one that catches everybody off guard. Door 2 has nothing to do with the tax man. This one is held by the Bank of Canada, the country's central bank, and here's the story behind it. When you've got an account at a Canadian bank, a checking account, a savings account, an old GIC, even a bank draft you never got around to depositing, and it just sits there, untouched, with the bank unable to reach you. At a certain point, the bank isn't allowed to keep it. After 10 years of no activity, the bank has to hand that balance over to the Bank of Canada, which holds onto it until the owner comes looking. And a lot of people never come looking. There are more than 2 million of these forgotten accounts right now, holding over $900 million between them. The average one is around $375, but plenty are far, far larger. Think about how easy this is to do. An account you opened decades ago at a branch that isn't even there anymore. A savings account for a goal you long since forgot about. Money sitting under a maiden name, or in a joint account somebody else set up. All of it can quietly drift into this pile. Here's how you check. And again, it's free. There's an official search tool run by the Bank of Canada. You search by name and it'll ask you for a city and a province. You don't need to know which bank, you don't need an account number, you don't need to remember a single thing, just a name. And this next part is important. Search every version of your name you've ever used. Your maiden name, your name with the middle initial, nicknames. And this is where families turn up real money. Search the names of parents or a spouse who have passed away, because those forgotten accounts don't vanish when someone dies. They wait, just like the checks do. One difference from the CRA, a balance under $1,000 is held for 30 years, and anything 1,000 or more is held for 100 years. So even a very old account is almost certainly still sitting there. If you find a match, you follow the online steps to make a claim. Larger claims get mailed in, and it takes a few months to process. But the search itself, 2 minutes, no cost. Door 3 is Service Canada, the people behind EI, the Canada Pension Plan, and Old Age Security. Benefit and pension checks get stranded for the exact same reasons tax checks do. Someone moved, someone passed, an envelope got lost. This money sits in its own separate place. The CRA search won't show it. The Bank of Canada search won't show it. The most reliable way to handle this one is to contact Service Canada directly and ask them to check whether there's an uncashed benefit payment under your name or under the name of a family member whose affairs you're looking after. If you already use the online My Service Canada account, you can review your payment history there as well. It's the least automated of the three. But for anyone who's ever received a federal benefit and moved or had mail trouble over the years, it is absolutely worth the phone call. So that's all 3 doors open. But before you rush off to start searching, remember that trap I told you to hold in the back of your mind? Now's the time. Here's how you keep every dollar that's yours. First, those finder and locator companies, they're real, and some of them are perfectly legal. But understand what they're actually doing. They're charging you a cut of your own money too. Fill in a free form. In Alberta, the law actually caps what a finder is allowed to take at 10%, which tells you plenty about how much they'd grab if they could. You never need one. Every search I've described is free to do and free to claim. If a company contacts you saying they've found money in your name and they need a fee to release it, that's your money. Go get it yourself for nothing. Second, and please, tell the people you love about this one. Scammers know this pot of money exists too, and they use it as bait. If you get a phone call, a text, or an email saying the CRA, or the government, is holding money for you, and you just need to confirm your banking details or your SIN or pay a small processing fee to release it, stop. That is not how any of this works. The real CRA and the real Bank of Canada will never phone you demanding personal information to hand over your own money. When you check, you go to the official sites yourself, or you call the official numbers yourself. You never hand your details to somebody who called you. And you never share sensitive information over email, only through the secure portals or by mail. If you remember nothing else from this stretch, the search is free, the claim is free, and nobody legitimate will ever phone you asking for money in order to give you money. 2 last things, and they matter. Once you've claimed anything that's yours, shut the door on this ever happening again. Set up direct deposit with the CRA. You can do it right there in My Account or over the phone when your refunds and benefits go straight into your bank account. There's no paper check to lose, no address to go stale, nothing to sit forgotten under a pile of mail. That one step takes you out of this whole thing for good. And the family piece. Go back through those 3 searches. Not just for yourself, but for a spouse who's passed, for your parents, for anyone whose affairs you've handled. This is where the surprising amounts turn up. An old account, a final refund, a benefit check nobody thought to look for. If someone has died and you find money in their name, the estate's executor or legal representative can arrange to claim it, and the institutions will walk you through exactly what they need. It's a bit of effort at a hard time, but that money belongs to the family, and right now it's just sitting there. So, quickly, before you go, 3 doors, the CRA for tax and benefit checks, sign into My Account, click Uncashed Cheques. The Bank of Canada for forgotten bank accounts, search your name and every name you've ever used on their free tool. And Service Canada for stranded pension and EI payments, pick up the phone and ask. Every one of them is free. None of them talks to the others, and any one of them could be holding something with your name on it. Take 20 minutes this week and knock on all 3. Worst case, you find nothing and you've lost nothing. Best case, you find money you didn't know you had and it's back where it belongs. I'm Robert. Go check those 3 doors before you forget, and I'll see you in the next one.